Hey, how you doing this afternoon? It's Monday, June 5th. So I wanted just to tune in real quick with you guys because I've been wanting to make this video for about a week now, and if it's been one thing, it's been another. And I wanted to do it a certain kind of way, so I didn't kind of want to rush. And but although I don't want to make this a very long video, I think I'll just do various segments and kind of do more of the vlog format that I had been doing a while back. Although I did try to do a few of them in my car and I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know, my focus wasn't there or something, I'm not sure. So anyway, I thought I will do it on the Hangouts like I've been doing. And so thanks a lot for tuning in as always here at Circle Healing Network. I really do appreciate you guys' feedback and all the comments that you leave. It does help me because the whole reason for me starting this channel, quite frankly, was for me to reach out and find other people who were experiencing the things that I was experiencing, just to kind of help myself. And in the process, hopefully, if there was an exchange or some things that I said that helped you, that was all the better. But by no means did I start this channel to try to profit in any way, or to, not that I've got a problem with channels profiting, so I don't want to get that out there either, because I think that what I've learned about these videos and stuff, it's a lot of hard work. And when you're researching and figuring stuff out, and the time it takes to put the videos up and then read comments and try to be community, it really is kind of like a full-time job. So my hat's off to people who are doing this and have made money. I monetize my channels because at first when I said, oh, I'm not going to monetize because I really wasn't trying to make money, my videos weren't really being viewed either, because YouTube, why should they put a whole lot of videos out there that don't have advertisements on them so that they can make money? Sort of think about it, right? So that's all altruistic to say, oh, I'm not going to monetize my sites, but then you don't get seen. So the whole point of you doing it, you don't really reach a large community. So when I started monetizing, I noticed I started reaching more people, or more people started following. I was getting more comments. So there you have it. But YouTube has changed so many of their algorithms over the last year. I think in the full year, I made $248. Oh. So trust me, this is a labor of love. It is not a labor of thinking, you know, it's no get rich quick scheme at all. So I'm just saying that because I'm still monetizing for that reason. But it's kind of, you know, it's always a catch-22 with regards to everything that's happening on YouTube. But anyhow, I just want to throw that out there because I don't know, I've never said anything about it before, and I don't know if you guys have thought about it or you've noticed other things that are going on. And so that's my story. But anyhow, today I want to talk about jumping, because one of the things that I've been noticing is I've taken the last 3 or 4 months, because you notice, guys, I don't really come on here a whole lot. Not that I'm not having Mandela effects all the time. I'm having them like 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. Different things that are happening. I could talk on this forever. My family is tired of me. They're happy when I sign on and talk to you guys, because they're like, when they see me coming, they run now. Oh my goodness, it's the truth. But anyway, they love me and they see it too. It's just that they're like, they just can't be down the rabbit hole all the time. That's the problem, and I understand that. So anyway, but so I'm not on here all the time because of that. I'm not, you know, I've noticed this with this whole Mandela thing. There's been like so many infighting and people back and forth, and you took my stuff and you said this, and I was the first one who said and did this. I mean, really, this is what the whole Mandela thing is about, is unity. It's for us really understanding what we have been trapped in and freeing ourselves and moving out of it. And we have such a huge opportunity to just move out this freaking matrix. The door is wide open. And the crazy thing about it is how many people are walking through it. And as long as we remain, or people allow themselves to remain, not we, because I'm not, and I'm sure so many of you guys aren't, because I can tell by your comments that you aren't. Why allow, you know, why would people allow themselves to get caught? I know that I could sort of understand maybe why they do, because they don't see the reality of the world, the way things have shifted. And I think when they do see certain things, and they don't really acknowledge it. I don't know what it is, but for me, It's like a shining bright ass light that's, you could see clearly what's going on out here. I mean, if you just go outside, and then I'll talk about jumping. If you just go outside in the evening and look at the star formations, there are constellations up there that I have never seen before. Now, I'm not saying I'm an authority on constellations, but you know, as kids, you know, we always looked into the sky, the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, certain things. I mean, there are certain star formations that just look odd, but more importantly, the moon. The moon is just doing its own thing. It's like it said, you know what? I'm tired of the Matrix 2. Getting outside the box. I'm going to be the moon I was meant to be, because that moon does everything but what it used to do. I mean, it's in the sky during the daytime. It stays in the same position. It doesn't move with the sun. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. One minute I can be outside and I look up and there's no moon. I go in 5 minutes later, not only the moon in the sky, it's full up above my head, like it didn't take any time to rotate into that position. Sometimes it's, you know, it's like a half moon, like with this whole side, let's say if the whole right side is white and the left side is dark, then, I mean, even sometimes within hours, and certainly the next day, it's flipped. So the whole white side is the top half. I mean, like crazy stuff like that. So right there, just using some of our basic creature instincts, we know for a fact that the moon is not doing what the moon used to do. I have a picture where I took, the moon is high in the sky. It was like around 7:30 or 7:45. The moon was in the sky and the sun hadn't even gone down yet. The sun, you could see the big glow over the horizon of the sun. And it was on it was on the western sky. So the moon was in the western sky with the sun that was in the western sky setting. I mean, these are just things that are not, we didn't experience this before. So we know right there that eyes wide open, something's different, right? And then with so many other things that we're experiencing, especially with time speeding up, time slowing down, you look at your clock, at your clock, and I know for me, maybe an hour or so has actually gone by in terms of physical time, but it seems like to me, it's been 5 or 6 or 7 hours, because other things are not syncing with the clock, and so it's just not longer like a feeling, but you may have like for instance, I have a video playing that's supposed to be like a 4-hour like background music thing, but then it plays its whole time, but then I look at the clock and only an hour has gone by. Things like that. I mean, there's crazy things like that that tell you, okay, these two things are not syncing up. Something's wrong. So first of all, I just want to be that voice to you today that says, really, really, really look at everything so carefully and actually start just keeping notes. I've been keeping notes like in my daily planner. I just started writing stuff down there when things happen or crazy things in a day, or I noticed the moon one way and then the next night it's a different way. I just write it down in that planner so that I can start keeping track of this, because I know things are like not on a normal time sequence. So I would suggest that maybe you guys start doing the same thing if you aren't already, because it really does help you keep track of what you're experiencing. The other thing is my body is definitely different when I jump. And I know my consciousness is moving. I'm really clear that it's like your consciousness, that at least for me, and this is my experience, so I'm speaking from my experience, I'm not speaking for the whole world, I'm not even speaking for all the people looking at this video. I think maybe different things are happening for different people, but for me, I really think my consciousness is moving between all of the multiverses, and all of the multiverses that are sort of lined up right next to each other, even if we do small jumps or big jumps. Because, for instance, okay, I'm a girl, as you may already figure out, I hope. Anyway. Like one of the things I really notice is different. I mean, I'm fairly, athletic. I mean, I'm not running any marathons right now or anything like that, but I mean, I do my yoga, my Tai Chi. I walk vigorously all the time. I'm not in the gym so much because I've never really been much of a gym person, but I'm pretty fit, and I'm very conscious of my body mass and what have you. I've been a vegetarian for the most part, although I do have some seafood. And I'm telling you, sometimes my body is fine, everything is okay. And then when I know I've gone through some jumps, especially certain consciousness, certain parts, certain bodies, and I don't know where these dimensions are that I jump into, my legs will be full of cellulite. I hope that's not too much information, but you girls out there can understand. And you guys who have gals probably are noticing it too. And if you notice at one moment, your woman is like tight and her legs are looking right, and all of a sudden, like 2 days later, you're like seeing a lot of cellulite. Like you think, where did that come from? I don't remember seeing it a couple of days ago. I think that's what's happening. And then I can go back and have another jump and everything is fine again. I mean, like, this doesn't happen from day to day. I mean, your body, you don't lose cellulite like that, you know? So look at that stuff. And the other thing I've noticed is that certain kind of things that you do, like we've been doing all our lives, like, you know, unconsciously, like the way you may eat, the way you may cut your food or pick up your fork, or your range of motion. Like maybe you can, you know, reach behind your back and scratch way far down. And then on another day you go to scratch and you barely get your arm like to here. I mean, that's been happening to me. And at first I was thinking, wow, Robin, you're really like, why are you having range of motion issues? You know what I mean? I'm thinking, I'm doing the same thing. I mean, I've done yoga for like a large part of my life, so I'm really pretty flexible. And like sometimes I won't even be able to like I'll be struggling to just scratch my back. I'll have to ask, you know, my family, hey, can you scratch my back? You know, stuff like that. And at first I wasn't thinking about it because me, like so many others, I'm focusing on all this other Mandela stuff. And then when I really started noticing my world, my body, my family, and started focusing back in, like stuff like that changes sometimes within the space of the same day, and certainly from day to day. So I'm sure you guys are having some of these same things happening, and maybe you've had the same thoughts that I've had, or maybe with me saying that you're going like, damn, that's what's going on. Because I know I'm not the only one. I know this because I've been watching it for like 4 or 5 months now, and I haven't said anything because I've really just been watching and observing. I know for a fact we're not moving our physical bodies. Our consciousness is I think is really going with the unified field. I believe that we are moving back to a unified field, and that when we're the more aware of what we are, the more we'll begin to control it, and the more we'll be able to take control of not only our lives, our dimensions, our destiny. I really believe it's a blessing. And I think that so much is out there to try to infect our thinking, so we don't see it as a blessing, so that we have fear about this Mandela thing, or it's CERN, it's this, it's that. I don't believe it's CERN. Now, do I think that Hadron Colliders can manipulate space and time? Yeah. And I think it could be taken advantage of natural phenomena. And you know, I've been saying this, you guys have been following me, you know, I've been saying that I think that it can take advantage of natural phenomena, but it can't take advantage of our consciousness and our ability to move through space and time and through these multiverses. It can't control that. We are in control of that. And the more we learn how to control it, the more we're going to be able to be empowered. I know that. And the more that you deal with not seeing the death birth paradigm, and you really just see yourself as this continuous stream of consciousness, you get free from that as well. And so one of the things that I've noticed, I'm gonna tell you a few things I've noticed when I've jumped. And I want you guys to give me feedback for sure, please. And tell me if you're noticing some of the same things, or you may be noticing some other things that are happening on a sort of the way I'm explaining my experiences, and then share with me, because I could be missing some other times that things are going on. But the first thing I want to share, and now this vibration is probably a way of saying it. I've experienced this, I know, for about 4 years, maybe even more than that, but definitely 4 years. And at first, I couldn't figure out what it was. And it's now morphed into something different. But I'm gonna tell you the first phases of it was that Like I could be, and a lot of this stuff happens either in the car or at night during dream time. I'm finding these are the two places that it happens a lot, in my car and then during dream time. So I would be driving along in my car and I would feel like a vibration on my lap, like boo, boo. And I would look down because I'm thinking of my cell phone, because I mostly keep my cell phone on vibrate. So I was thinking, oh, it's my cell phone. And I would look down and it wouldn't be. And the cell phone would be over in the seat. That's weird, you know? And I could say that happened so much that I remember even saying to my family, "Does your cell phone's like, does your phone feel like it vibrates, but it's not vibrating in your lap?" And like, you know, most times they're like, "No, I don't know. You know, it could be this, it could be that." You know, people, "Oh, maybe it's this, maybe it's that." So I was like, "Oh yeah, maybe it's this, maybe it's that." But now moving forward into the last few months, what I've noticed is that it'll be the same thing, but now it's up in my eye area. Like my eye, it'll go like almost like the way, you know, when you're looking at, just looking at my phone, you know, when you're looking at like television, and sometimes it'll like especially old-fashioned television, you used to do this. It would flicker, go like, vroom, 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 you know, like that. And your eye would just, and so my eye would kind of do that, right? And at first when it happened, I was like, oh, that's weird. And I would be in my car and I'd be like, oh, that's weird. And then after it happened, I would be like a little disoriented. Like I would get that heady feeling that we've all talked about. I know we've discussed that a bit in our group. That sort of disoriented feeling a little bit. And then, you know, it was only a second or so, and then you're fine. And you start driving along, and I wouldn't think about it. Although a couple of times when it happened, and I'm gonna go back, one of my videos, you guys will go back, I think it said a glitch in the matrix. It actually caught it on tape, because I was sitting there and I felt like this, and then my whole scene shifted. And I'm looking this way, but I know I should be looking this way to start driving off. If you guys haven't seen that, go back and look at that video. And then I start driving off, and and there's nothing coming left or right as I'm going through the intersection. And then within a split second, this tractor trailer, who seems like it came out of nowhere, I mean, literally, it just like appeared, and it just goes blowing through the light. And I was like, oh my God, you know, it kind of like startled me for a moment. And I'm thinking, that's odd for a tractor trailer. I mean, you know, cars run lights, but tractor trailers normally don't really just run a light. Like they ain't just trying to make a light, because they know it's hard for them to stop, and they can't afford to go careening into anyone who's coming through an intersection. So I just knew at that moment, instantly, I just felt that guy thought his light was green. I mean, you just have that sensation that it had to be. So I remember that switch in scenery happened, and I felt a little heady, disoriented. So now moving forward, I'm noticing that, like, I can be driving along, and all of a sudden, like, you know, it normally happens if you're stopped at a light or somewhere like that, or but it's happened to me a couple of times when I was driving along. Actually, I'd be driving along, and all of a sudden it seemed like things would be disoriented, and then it would click back in. So at first when that was happening, I wasn't paying any attention. Now I go back and I do a couple of things. I'm not going to say on this video what I check, because I'm almost feeling like sometimes that influences our dimensional stuff. But what I would suggest is find something that's a constant in your world, and then check it. When you feel like you have these little vibration or these little shifts or something strange like that, Google something that you know to be a truth in your dimension and see if there's been any shift to that. I've been finding that sometimes I'll see like a major shift, and then sometimes I won't see really any shift. And I'm thinking, oh, that was probably just a small slide or something like that. But then I'll notice maybe differences in myself. Like when that happens, that's when I'll notice like body differences, like small things, like maybe range of motion. That's one that happens when I seem like I have a smaller shift, or like the cellulite and stuff like that. That seems like when I have big jumps, like when I'll notice other things are different too. Like that's when the moon is like, I think that's what's happening too, like with the moon. Like one night it'll look one way, and then maybe the next day it's like completely different, or it's a half moon, and the night before it was a full moon. I think that's when we've done some dimensional shifts as well. I'm kind of thinking. What's your thoughts on that? So anyway, so that's been one of the things when that sort of that vibrational thingy happens. Now, what happens at dream time? I've noticed this at dream time, and I've been observing this dream time phenomenon. So tell me if you guys are having this happen. I think that water for me is associated with jumping in the dream time. Now, I was having a lot of that. I mean, and I'm not one of these people who, I mean, I'm not afraid of water or anything like that. I swim and what have you, and I've water ski and stuff like that. But I'm not the happiest when it comes to heights, let's put it like that. So I'm not going to be your girl who's going to be jumping off of a cliff and diving into a body of water. That ain't me. I'm not even going on the high dive and jumping into a pool. I just don't do those sorts of things. However, I'm constantly having these dreams where I'm sailing off the top of a large cliff into the water, or diving off of a high dive into a pool, things like that. And when I was first having, I'm like, what strange dreams to have. But what I started noticing in all of them is that, first of all, I'm diving with ease and grace, and just like, it's like a big dive. Like you feel like you're really going to go down in that water. The other thing I noticed is that I don't come back up to the top. When I go down in the water, either I normally go down in the water, and then as I'm coming up, I wake up. So I never, in those dreams, I never come back up to the top of the water. So either I wake up, or I'll dive into the pool, and as I dive into the pool, I start walking, and I wake up. And associated with all these dreams is, as soon as I wake up, I've got to go and urinate. Like my bladder feels like it's so full. And it would be so weird, because when it was first happening, I'm thinking, like, why do I have to go to the bathroom so bad when I wake up like this, you know? And so I was like, okay, whatever. And then what I started associating is that dream with that feeling. So then I started wondering, because the other thing I was noticing is that I can get really, really, really hot, like really hot. But like to my touch, I feel cold. But if somebody else touches me, they say, my God, you're on fire. But it doesn't feel like that to me. And that happens a lot when I'm getting ready to go to sleep, or when I'm also getting ready to wake up. Once I awaken, I can be really, really, really hot. And so what I started thinking about, so this is where I want some folks to weigh in on this, because I am not at all a scientist. I mean, I have an interest in science and quantum and all that stuff, but I couldn't begin to really rattle off more than a few sentences and a few ideas on those topics. But one of the things, when I started really asking my higher self about this whole thing, what was going on, I kept on getting plasma. So one of the things, I did a little bit of research on this and found out that of all the things on the all the elements on your periodic table, water is the one thing that can shift into plasma with heat, being one of the things that will turn water into plasma. And it can be used, and then it's the one element that once it's spent, it can return from plasma back to water without any alterations in its molecular structure. And for the last few months, I've been sort of like looking into this, and it kind of supports some of my other theories that I'm thinking about, things like star forts and things like that, what that has to do with, and some of the old mound technologies, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But I was sort of thinking this plasma had to do with that. So then I was thinking, wow, maybe this is a part of the dimensional jumping. We have the ability through our consciousness to begin to sort of alter, because I don't think we're taking our bodies with us at all, but some kind of way this plasma, when the heating up of our structure to be able to jump, which we're just doing our unconsciously or consciously, unconsciously. And then when we come back in my case, as the plasma begins to become my body water density again, that 70 plus percent, maybe there's too much and my body processes it, and which causes me to have to eliminate some of that water. I don't know. I mean, you guys may be laughing at me right now, think this woman is really nutty. I don't know. I'm just sharing with you my experiences and kind of what I'm coming to think about with this thing, because I know that it's happening. The more I become conscious of it, the more it seems like I'm becoming aware of it. Because before, for the longest time during my dream time, I know this stuff was going on in my dream time, and I could be like right up to the point that I'm waking up, because I've always, I mean, for years and years, I've been lucid in my dreams. So I'll be like right up to waking up. I'm like, I'm gonna bring it back. I'm gonna bring it back. And then as soon as I'd wake up, I'm like struggling to remember what the heck even happened, what was going on, what was I trying to bring back. And when I started like just even more and more just say, okay, I'm gonna be conscious of this, I'm gonna relax, I know this is going on. And the more I started acknowledging it, the more memory I was bringing back through, to now when I wake up, I can basically remember like tons of my dream time. But now I'm remembering the reentry where I wasn't remembering that at first. So I know things are speeding up, and I know that it's like anything, it's a muscle. Like, you know, the more you use it, the better you are at it. So like, it's like everything that you first learned to do, you know, like when I just think about as kids, we were riding the bike. Because I remember when I was a kid, I really wanted to learn how to ride a bike, and I was on training wheels. I want the darn training wheels off, you know, and my dad, I remember he worked with me like, oh my gosh, for a couple of hours, I know. I just kept on releasing the bike, and I'm trying to pedal, I'm trying to keep from falling off. And finally I got it. And I'm like, oh, I'm riding this bike. Well, of course, now it's like you could not ride a bike for 10 years and get on the bike and ride it, right? Like, it's just ingrained. Like, once you went through that process of learning how to do it, it was just a repetitive. And once you got it, it was a wrap. It can't be taken from you. You just know how to ride a bike. I think that's how this jumping and this whole Mandela effect and this whole expansion of consciousness, this whole unity consciousness, this whole thing that we're having now, where we're really beginning to be beings that are not only creating, but controlling what we create. I honestly believe that in everything that I have in me. And so now I think the more we practice it, and the more we acknowledge it, and the more we celebrate this ability, the more we're able to do it, and the better we're going to get at it. And I think it's so important for us to look at this whole Mandela effect and look at this entire dialogue from the standpoint of how we're being affected and how we are growing and expanding from it. And I know I went back over the transcripts of some of my earlier videos from last year on the QHHT sessions, the hypnosis sessions. And I've been reading that stuff because I had it in transcript. And so much of that supports where we are even a year later. Where when I first was reading that stuff, I was like, Robin, this is like, kind of like a little out there. You know what I mean? Like, even, I mean, I'm kind of like out there myself, but I was thinking, is this what it could really be? But this last year for me has bared out a lot of that, and maybe that can go back to saying I'm creating my own reality as a result of it. I don't know. So anyhow, I'm going to end the video now. I've said a lot. I really look forward to your input to see, because I just know in my spirit that you guys are having these experiences, and you'll be able to share a lot with me about some of what's going on for you, and maybe what I've shared with you has been a light bulb that's gone off now, and you're like, whoa, I've been having that. It's, you know, is that what's been going on? And sort of like self-validate. Again, thank you so much for exchanging with me and for sharing this time on this channel. I do appreciate it. And I really thank you guys for being, you guys are, I think I have a really good group of people on this channel. I think we're a like community. Most of you are so, I mean, the majority of you, like 99 and 9/10 of you guys are so kind and so considerate. And even when we disagree, you do it from a point of intelligence and a point of, you know, empathy and just like being decent people. And I really, really do appreciate that about you guys. And even when I share your stories with people that I know and stuff like that, I'm always saying that I think that that you guys are just really on the path and are really in service to others and are really trying to figure this thing out. And I'm finding now that even the random negative commenter, I really don't hardly get them. And because I don't even acknowledge them as soon as I see it, because it gets caught up in my spam, I just delete it because it's of no consequence. So I just want to thank you guys for being who you are and for us to be on this journey together. I know this is not by accident. And again, I'll look forward to hearing the comments, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Have a great beginning of June. Alrighty. Take care. Bye-bye.